Welcome to Coach's Roundtable. I'm Ed Codi, and welcome our guest, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette sports writer and Steeler insider. No one does it better than Ray Fittipaldo. Ray, thanks for joining us. Should we be surprised that Tomlin's coming back for the final year of his contract and will possibly even get an extension?
Yeah, well, that extension is looking more and more likely. I think they just have to, cross the T's and dot the I's there. That's an important part of the offseason. But from what Mike Tomlin told us last week, it's just really a formality at this point. And if you would have asked me this after the Indianapolis game, I might have had a different answer. But they did finish strong. They won their final three regular season games to get into the postseason. And, that game at Buffalo was tough. They were injured. They didn't play well early, but they fought back. So in the end, I'm not surprised that the Steelers decided to bring Tomlin back. Now it's all about, can you get the right offensive coordinator? Can you get the right quarterbacks coach to work with Kenny Pickett and or Mason Rudolph to get this offense better?
All right, well, let's look at their last 60 games. They're 31, 28, and 1. So Tomlin coming back. I'm not entirely excited about it. I understand where the Steelers are with it. But let me ask you this. He mentioned the other day that the Steelers are close to the top teams in the AFC. And I'm like, what? You've lost 5 straight playoff games, giving up an average of 38 points a game. I was shocked to find out the cumulative first quarter score. They've been outscored 66-0. So what is it that Tomlin's saying that the rest of us are not saying?
Well, he's probably seeing everything but the quarterback position. And I know there's a lot more that goes into winning in the playoffs than your quarterback. But Ed, look at the teams that are still alive. You got Lamar Jackson in the AFC. You got Patrick Mahomes in the AFC. You flip it over to the NFC. You got Jared Goff, who's trying to get to his second Super Bowl. And you got Brock Purdy, who was an MVP candidate until late in the season. So quarterback play is the most important thing in the NFL. And the Steelers, unfortunately for them right now, they're kind of stuck in the middle. They drafted Kenny Pickett, number 20 overall. You're not going to get a top quarterback drafting that low in the draft. They haven't seemed inclined to go to free agency to spend money on quarterback. So they're just going to try to see if they can make it work with Kenny Pickett. Now, there are other issues. You mentioned, the defense hasn't been stellar in the playoffs, going back all the way to that Jacksonville game in 2017. But to me, when I look at these other playoff teams and I look at the Steelers, the main difference is the quarterback play.
All right, let's look at this quarterback situation. So it seems like Pickett's going to be the starter. Do they sign Mason Rudolph to a multi-year deal, which I think would be somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe $5 or $6 million a year? Will the Steelers do that, or is he going to leave and find another home?
If I was the Steelers, I would want Mason Rudolph back. The team, the locker room gravitated towards him late in the season. He proved that he could win. So I think he's the perfect guy, not only to be a backup, but maybe to challenge Kenny Pickett going into next season. I don't think there's anything wrong with having good competition. So, you mentioned $5 or $6 million a year. I think that's perfect. That's basically what they were paying Mitch Trubisky. Just give him Mitch Trubisky's contract. You're going to cut Trubisky and let Mason roll with that. So if he's willing to come back, if he doesn't have opportunities to start elsewhere, I would definitely have him on my roster in 2024.
Let's look at some other personnel issues. Najee Harris entering his option year. He's going to get what? I think $6 million. What's it going to take to keep him? He's been pretty durable, 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He often plays hurt. He plays hard. What's it going to take to keep him?
Yeah, I think you pick that up at $6.6 million is a small price to pay. It's kind of like a graded system. If he had made a Pro Bowl or All Pro, that number would have been higher. But to me, $6.6 million for a running back who gets as many touches as he does, I don't want to say it's a bargain, but it's very reasonable for a starting running back. And then you still have the good fortune of having Jaylen Warren be your number 2. If you look at the touches and the carries late in the season, that was basically they were sharing that starting position. So I think it works for the Steelers. You get him under contract for 2 more years, and then you see if you can, do something with him after that if you want to. But I think it's a no-brainer to get him the 5th-year option when they have to pick that up in May.
Hey, Ray, correct me if I'm wrong. I think they need another receiver. Deontay Johnson, he missed 4 games. In his 13 games, he did not have one 100-yard receiving game. Now, some of that could be attributed to the quarterback play, but still, that's a glaring statistic.
It's a huge need going into the draft, Ed. They're going to cut Allen Robinson. He's due $10 million in salary. There's no way they're going to pick that up. He only had 280 receiving yards. So you go into next season with Johnson, who's entering the last year of his deal, and you go in with Pickens as your top 2 receivers. Pickens has 2 years left on his rookie contract. You have to add a receiver, probably in free agency and in the draft. I could see them bringing in a vet to replace Allen Robinson, obviously a cheaper option, and then you spend a 1st, a 2nd, or a 3rd round pick on your receiver, your receiving core. Get that unit established and prepare for life without Deontay Johnson. He's going to count, I think, Ed, 15 million or more against the cap next season. I don't think you go forward with him after that. You got to start building for the future.
All right, let's look at some other issues. Cam Hayward, I love him. I love the way he plays. He's going to be 35 years old. He makes $17 million a year. They can't afford to keep him at that price.
No. And, if you want to look at a similar scenario, just go back 2 years to Ben Roethlisberger. He was due a big salary in the last year of his deal. They ended up bringing him back for $10 million a year. Now, Cam's not even going to get $10 million a year, Ed. I mean, he's older. He's 35 years old. He's going to turn 35, and he's coming off an injury-plagued season. And you know as well as I do that once you get older, those injuries don't stop, right? You can maybe, rehab and get your body in great shape. Maybe you have one great year left in you, but the odds are stacked against him that that's going to happen. So to me, if he want to come back at, 4 or 5 million a year, I could see them doing that. But otherwise, I think they'll probably have to move on.
Minka Fitzpatrick did not have a good game against Buffalo, whiffed on a lot of tackles. He makes over $8 million a year. Do you keep him? Or they could do just as well with Killebrew because they at safety?
I mean, I would keep him. I mean, that safety situation, it's not good either, Ed. You have KZ who's got a year left on his contract. You can maybe cut him and save $3 million. Keanu Neal was more reasonable. I think he's only making $2 million a year. To me, you have to keep some semblance of a roster that's going to help you win games. And I think by keeping him, they would do that. So I don't see them moving on in that respect.
What if some team comes along and says to the Steelers, we'll give you a number 1 and a number 2 for TJ Watt, who's going to be 30, makes $28 million a year? Yes or no?
I don't do it. Ed. I mean, he's your cornerstone. He's your franchise. And it would be a shame that if they didn't win a Super Bowl with TJ Watt, just like it is with Cam Hayward. I mean, he's a generational type player. He could have played in the 70s. He could have played for Cowher in the 90s. And it's just one of those deals where the Steelers don't have a roster, to help him, have success in the postseason. But to me, could you possibly hit it big and reload and get some great players? Yeah, you could. But the draft is such a crapshoot, too, that I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. So to me, you got to try to do everything you can to try to build a roster around TJ Watt to help him win in the postseason. It's a shame they couldn't do that for Cam Hayward, but they do have to try to do that for TJ Watt.
Well, the Steelers are going to have like number 18 or 20 pick. Who's your number 1 pick in the draft for the Steelers? What position is number 1 with you?
Yeah, probably too early for me to identify a player, but I'll give you a couple positions. Defensive line, we just mentioned Hayward. He's getting older. Ogunjobi, to me, has underperformed at a contract that's paying him like $13 million a year. So that would be one option for me. Offensive tackle would be another option for me. They got Broderick Jones last year. I think you can even add to that and have a bookend on the other side for him. And then the third option, and I'm not saying center isn't an option. I think center is probably more second or third round. But if you wanted to go into the cornerback pool, again, a corner or a safety at number, where they're picking 20 or 22, I forget. But if you go cornerback again, get yourself another young corner to pair alongside Joey Porter Jr.
All right, Ray, finally, your pick, KC Baltimore. Who do you like?
Man, it's hard for me to pick against KC because of Mahomes. I think he's better than Jackson, but I think the Ravens have the better roster. They're at home. So I'm going to go Ravens, but I don't feel great about it.
And San Francisco, Detroit?
Yeah, to me, I don't want to call this a mismatch. I mean, the Lions have a lot of mojo on their side. I think it's a great story, but as long as Deebo Samuel can play, and early in the week it looks like he is going to play, I like the 49ers probably by about 8 or 10 points in that game.
And who gets the Lombardi?
Man, I'm going to go. That's a rematch of 2012 now. San Francisco versus Ravens. I'll go San Francisco this time. Shanahan is a great young coach. Got close a couple of years ago. I think he gets it done this time.
Hey, Ray, thanks for joining us. Always appreciate your insight. Look forward to talking to you this July, and it'll be here faster than we know it.
Thanks, Ed. I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you. I'll be right back with Alan George.
High school sports, community events, all of your favorite local shows are calling the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel their home. Find out everything your neighborhood has to offer on Channel 100 or on YouTube. Spirit, town pride, local communities. This is the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
I'm back, joined to my right by the Swami George Abraham, to my left the Tiger Albert Campman. Let's go to basketball under spotlight. Top scores: Shane Peters of Carn City 40, Max Hurry of North Catholic 31 and 23, Tegan Finucane of Knock 30, Kai West Seneca Valley 28, Peter Kramer of Hampton 26, Ralph Blundo of Newcastle 20, and Damian Harrison of Newcastle 20. For the girls, Megan Murray, of Hampton 26, Maddie Dehart of Union AC Valley 22, Catherine Kelly of Montauk 21, and Brady Weiner of North Catholic 21. In college, Jomo Goings of Slippery Rock University 23, and Maceo Austin 21, and an 80-77 win over UPJ. Austin had 26, and Hester 23, and a 95-90 loss to nationally ranked Gannon.
Shot 2 for 23 and was still tied in regulation.
The Rock 7-10, 5-6 in conference play. High school wrestling, Butler sophomore Santino Sloboda, 114 pounds. He improves to 27-0. The Allegheny County Championships at Fox Chapel, Dominic Ferrara Pine Richland took first, 139-pound class. Vaughn Spencer Pine Richland took first at the 172-pound class. And in high school track at Youngstown State University, boys, Tyler Arblaster, Slippery Rock High School, he set 2 school records in the 460 meters. And Butler boys 4x4 team at YSU, they posted the second fastest time in the state this year. For the girls, Ashley Reagan of Slippery Rock High School, school record in the 800, and Leah Perez, Slippery Rock High School, school record in the 1600. And honors, Jordan Geis, the Knock Nest Monster and University of Arizona All-American track star, inducted into the 2024 WPIAL Hall of Fame. He holds numerous WPIAL and state records in a shot and disc. I don't think those will be broken for years and years to come.
It'll be somebody special, I'll tell you that.
And he's a Pac-12 Athlete of the Year 3 times in track and field, and also academic All-American. He has a sight set on the Olympics for 2024.
I talked to him last week. He's just getting ready to ramp it up again, full tilt.
Oh, God, it would be nice if he makes it. Terrific.
Absolutely.
I think part of the WPL class, Tyler Boyd, too, going in with him.
Yeah.
And other honors, legendary Farrell High School basketball coach Ed McCluskey, inducted into the National American Basketball Hall of Fame. McCluskey, 11 WPL titles, 7 state titles. That's the most by any coach in Pennsylvania history.
Yeah, they have him ranked one of the top 2 coaches in Pennsylvania history. That's all you have to know. And Eddie, George, the guy coached LaSalle,
Speedy Morse.
They say he or Speedy Morse. They say are the two best high school coaches ever.
And the other one, I hope is there a National High School Hall of Fame for football coaches for high school, because Phil Breidenball, Newcastle, he's the other great coach that belongs in there too. All right, let's go to our stories of the week. NFL playoffs: Baltimore 24, Houston 10. Lamar Jackson ran for 2, threw for 2, but it was the Baltimore defense that shut down the Texans, holding him to just a field goal. The only touchdown was on a punt return. This is John Harbaugh's 12th playoff win. He's 12-9. Big deal or no big deal for what Lamar did?
Well, Lamar, I was impressed.
Yeah.
Oh. Super impressed, because I told you, I've talked about. I didn't think he could win a Super Bowl with him. He's proved me wrong. He is taking care of the football. You know, he used to just throw that ball up for grabs. He's not doing that. His running ability makes him him and Josh Allen that dangerous. You know, they do something special that nobody else can do.
Yeah, he had 100 yards rushing in the game.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, no question.
4 tutties, 2 running, 2 throwing. Al, you're not wrong till he wins one though.
Yeah.
Good point,
what I mean?
George.
You're
Very
not,
good. Yeah, I'm always
that
leery.
was Houston. That wasn't.
I'm always leery about
Now,
that.
if it's Kansas City, I'll be more. But I'll tell you this: if you have the other team, you hold your breath the whole game when he has it. That's how good he is.
Well, and the other thing is this: the way their defense is playing, as long as he takes care of the football, they're going to be in good shape.
Yeah.
This was the year to get a bye.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, he's playing. Kansas City is not near the team they were. I know they're still playing, but they were a devastating team before.
Yeah.
They're offensively just average at best.
Well, let me say this.
It's the year for Baltimore to win. Let me tell you that. They're not going through the. Remember when the Steelers had to go Houston to go through the Steelers? Yeah. Well, they're not going through a murder's row here. They won't get the best team will be San Francisco or Detroit if they get there.
About Kansas City 27, Buffalo 24. Patrick Mahomes, his 13th playoff win, most by a quarterback in his first 7 years. Isaiah Pacheco, 15 carries, 90 yards, but not enough credit. I don't hear them talk about Kansas City's offensive line, what a great job they do under Andy Heck, the former All-Pro. That just did a tremendous job protecting Mahomes. Their running game ratcheted up. Remember, beginning of the year, you know, we said their offense wasn't very good, as you alluded to, but now their younger receivers seem to have caught up and are on the same page with Mahomes.
A little bit. I'm still not that impressed. They played Buffalo's JV team and still struggled to beat them.
Well, they still won, but they won at Buffalo.
Oh, yeah, they won on the road. But I saw Buffalo's team. They already been close to what they were.
And Buffalo missed opportunities. A touchdown pass missed by Josh Allen. Just bumped. The receiver was wide open. And then I still don't get them going for a fake punt at their own 30 or 35-yard line.
It was he counted 10.
Okay.
The kid from Central Catholic.
Yeah.
He counted 10, and it's an automatic.
Yeah, and that's what they watch film for.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In other words, I'm not saying it was. I didn't like it either, but
I didn't like it.
It was not predetermined. In other words.
And then they got a break. Hardman fumbled ball into the end zone.
Yeah, that's true.
So Buffalo comes down to it again, wide right again. Tyler Bass missed that field goal, but I don't put it all on him. With all the opportunities that they missed in the game, he did wide right on that 44-yard field goal attempt, which would have tied the game up. You look at the Bills, 58 wins their last 5 years, but no Super Bowl. And the pressure's ramped up again on Sean McDermott, who's now 5-6 in the playoffs.
And I already made myself clear on that I think Buffalo wins if they have their full team. They didn't have, I think, seven players on defense they didn't have playing.
Lost their middle linebacker.
Both linebackers.
The defensive back.
Both safety, 2 corners.
See the time Kelsey was standing all by himself.
It's hard to win in a game when you have your offense has to score. I told George they have to score 38, 30 something to win this game.
Yeah, he
because
told me at halftime.
Kansas City called up the dogs. If Kansas City called, then Kansas City let's make sure that we run the clock down. And with your offensive line, you talked about Eddie.
Yeah.
How about Pacheco too? The leading rusher in the Big Ten this year's from Rutgers.
Yeah,
you liked him too, George.
Listen, I Andy Reid credit. He has a young defense. He finds these young players. Karloftis, the linebacker from Wisconsin. What, 2 or 3 young defensive backs?
Good.
He finds Pacheco.
But I don't think he finds them. That's the.
Well, I give him credit. Whatever, they're on the team. You got to give him credit.
But I don't give him the credit.
Well, it's a scouting department.
Yeah, definitely, all the way.
But he must be listening to them.
I would think 90% of the coaches listen. It's something.
I'm not sure
I think
about
the
that.
GMs are everything, just as important of anybody in the NFL can you find the right players at the right time and get lucky once in a while, like Purdy.
And the bulk of the players are not first. Like a lot of
that's what I'm
like
saying.
you go in the Super Bowl, Eddie. Both teams have like 45 guys, 50. I'll bet you 35 of them are late round or undrafted.
They are.
And
Yeah.
someone said to me, "Oh, with all these injuries in the NFL, the players have an." I said, "They have no argument. They agreed to these 17
Oh, yeah.
games.
Great
They
point.
traded
Great
their
point, Eddie.
soul for
Great
the
point.
money." So
Absolutely.
I don't want to hear any complaints by it. Now you better have some depth on your team. You better have a good practice squad because you're going to have injuries. I don't care who
Amazing
you are.
amount of injuries. Amazing.
No.
How big they are and how hard they hit. It's hard to last.
No,
No.
my God. And then, like, you made a good point, both of you. The receivers actually caught the ball Sunday. How many games?
They caught up with Kansas City. Remember, early in the year, those guys were dropping balls left and right.
Absolutely.
All right, now the AFC Championship game: Kansas City 12-6 at Baltimore 14-4. The Ravens by 3.5, and the winner will be.
Man, I really like Baltimore in that game. I told you I don't think
I like Baltimore,
I don't think
too.
Kansas City's even near them. We'll find out if I'm wrong or right.
Hey, on a side note, Travis Kelce scores a touchdown first time. And what's his brother taking his shirt
As I
off,
said yesterday.
drinking beer?
That's what's wrong. That's what's wrong with society. Instead of looking at somebody,
That's what a mature man, older
That's
man
what I'm
does.
saying. My daughter I made fun of him. With his shirt off, and he's drunk. And who they show? Him. That's it. Good for
Why?
my
Well, he
grandkids.
was up
Watch
there
that and
with-
celebrate
he
with
was
him
up there
like an
with
idiot.
Taylor Swift.
It's such an idiot.
Did you
First
see
of
him
all-
jump out?
Yeah, he jumped out.
You understand how much of an idiot he is?
Yeah.
And first of all, he's
wasn't
an
a
offensive lineman. He's no bodybuilder. I don't know what he's trying to show off. I don't know what the purpose is of that.
I know what the purpose
Ripping
is because
your shirt
he's going to make money off it. You understand? There's somebody's going to say, "Look, there's the Kelce's. There they are."
He jumps out into the stands, jumped out. He jumped a rail coming back into the press box up to my shoulders. And you can see he was not steady on his feet either.
Wait till Taylor Swift has a dinner at his house and he acts like that. That relationship will be over. in a
So
hurry.
disgusting.
Yeah.
So did.
All right, let's go to the NFC. Detroit 31, Tampa Bay 23. First NFL championship game in 32 years for the Lions. 2 playoff wins, the first time since 1957 when Bobby Lane was their quarterback. How about their running tandem of Gibbs and Montgomery?
gosh.
Gibbs 74 yards, 9 carries. The two of them this year combined all scrimmage yards for 2,300 total yards. That's unbelievable.
Eddie,
that
I'm
kind of
disappointed in you, Eddie.
Yeah.
You know why I'm disappointed in you?
What?
They're nothing without the offensive line.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the-
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the
Oh, no,
offensive
no.
line. No, they
Oh,
make
no,
Kansas
I didn't-
City's
I-
bored.
oh, absolutely.
Detroit runs that ball. They don't care how many people are in the box.
Oh.
Their offensive line's the best. They got the best
You
offensive
didn't
line.
give me a chance. No, I just didn't say.
But I thought you'd say that immediately.
No,
They have
they-
the best offensive line in football.
But that duo is as
But
good
they're good
as-
because of them, though.
They're
That's
good
good
because of them.
Those guys-
Vice versa. There's
that
a
offensive
chemistry
line's
there.
tremendous.
Gibbs is
He's the one that started Georgia Tech, went to Alabama.
Yeah.
Like the thing about them, like on a FanDuel situation or something, you have to have run and receive because they do both.
Yeah.
Like if you get them just rushing, you're going to be under.
I mean, you can go with Gibbs for a while, give him a break, put
Yeah,
Montgomery in there, and you're losing nothing.
Just a tremendous offensive
No,
line.
no.
And
Tremendous.
they got lucky with a great tight end.
Yeah, he's
I mean,
hurt. He's
Laporte's
still
great,
playing.
you
yeah.
know.
Hey, by the way, he's playing with a brace. They said he didn't know what he could do the first time back, and he said he's making these cuts.
Remember, I was asking, where is he from? And you don't have to ask for much.
Iowa.
They all come from Iowa.
Iowa, they
all the great
yeah.
tight ends come
Him
from
and
Iowa.
Kittle.
Baker Mayfield 3 TD passes. I know he had 2 picks. He threw for
Oh, he played
349,
good. Yeah,
but
he
the one pick came off the hands
He played
of,
good.
of Evans. He
He
had
played very
one
good.
at the end of the game that he's trying to make a play on. Now, are they going to sign
They-
him?
they have to.
Getting to be
Yeah, they
crazy
have to.
not to
They have
sign.
to.
I love the way
But he's
he
not a
plays.
$50 million guy, right?
They
No,
have
no,
to.
no.
30, 25, 30.
You know, in today's world,
Yeah.
you find out if you don't have a quarterback,
You can't.
you have no chance.
Right.
So money becomes what do we spend for a quarterback?
Yeah.
And he's become a good quarterback.
The worst move the Browns ever made, getting rid of him.
Yeah.
Boy, something was
Terrible
wrong.
move.
Something was wrong. He
then-
never looked like that in
And
Cleveland.
then they trumped it by giving this guy $9 bazillion
Yes.
to not play.
San Francisco survives Green Bay 24-21. And I talked to some people. They were shocked out of San Francisco. I said, it's playoffs. Green Bay come in off a big win over Dallas. What made you think that they wouldn't play well against San Francisco? But in the end, Purdy took them on that, 90-yard drive, completed 6 out of 7 passes. He was critical of himself after the game. I don't know why. He looked tremendous on that winning drive where McCaffrey scored on a 6-yard run for them to win the
And
game.
it was pouring.
It was pouring down rain. Yeah.
Debo Samuel getting hurts that a lot.
They're not sure
Very
yet.
much so.
They're not sure.
Yeah.
If he's going to
Week.
play.
No, it's no break.
Were you surprised Green Bay ran for 136 yards?
Yeah, San Fran's defense has been going down and down, down.
I said that about 6 weeks
Yes.
ago, and I noticed, and I said to him, I thought Green Bay would jump them early, and they did. You know, that missed field goal, even though it was only 3 points, it hurt them.
Absolutely, no question.
Absolutely.
Shanahan now 6-3 in the playoffs. The NFC Championship game. Detroit 14-5 at Frisco 13-5. The 49ers by 7.
You know what's interesting about that? If this game was in Detroit, I'd have Detroit.
Oh yeah, I would too.
I don't know how good the golf is at Detroit on the road. I have to check their schedule. I don't think they're a very good road team. We're going to find out.
And let me ask, how much a difference now? What the weather might be, but
Oh, yeah.
you've been indoors for 2 games in a
Oh,
row. Now
It's a
you're
big
going
difference,
outside
yes.
to play.
And Goff's a California kid, if that means anything.
Yeah.
They play there.
Grew up big Montana fan.
Okay.
All right, now talking about and the winner of that game, of course,
San Fran.
and then we'll talk next week going on about the Super Bowl. Okay, talk about the big winners. The Steelers, Tomlin to return. I'm not surprised. Look, and this is not a criticism. He makes $8 million a year. There's not. I don't see really any pressure on him to win big like a Super Bowl. So why wouldn't he stay? He's in a good situation with the Steelers. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. If he hires an offensive coordinator, which he's already had 6, and lets them run the show, as much as he says he wants a wide open offense that take advantage of all aspects of the offensive play, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and things may look up. But if he doesn't give the offensive coordinator that kind of control, I see much of the same.
Yeah, they have to. He has to, or they can't
You
win.
know what the record is their last 60 games?
Oh, I know.
31, 28, and 1. So that's not a good standard, but he gets a break. Now the Steelers have a lot of changes coming up. What are you going to do with Cam Hayward? He makes $17 million a year. He's going to be 35.
It's time to cut the break bait. I don't know. I love him too.
I do too.
One of the best
He's a great
players.
player.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's 35.
But that's a lot of money for a defensive.
My buddy's
tackle.
grandkid was in children's with a heart condition, barely.
right.
I see a picture who's holding the baby there.
Yeah.
He's that kind of guy.
Oh yes, he's
The
special.
Steelers defense, $121 million. He gets 17. Watt 28, and Fitzpatrick 8. Fitzpatrick
53.
whiffed in a game against
Oh.
Buffalo. He missed tackle.
You know, he talks too much for all whether
Yeah.
he plays.
You got to cut him his salary or trade him, and the same thing with Cam. Say Cam, we're going
I'm
to
with
give
you on
you
Eddie.
$5 million.
Both of them.
Give you $5 million.
Ask them to give some money back on the
Now,
contract.
I asked Ray
Fit.
Fittipaldo this. I'll ask you guys this. Let's say the Rams come along. Just use the team as an example. Say the Steelers. We'll give you a number 1 and a number 2 for what?
It's not enough. They need something else.
Fittipaldo
3, I'd say 3.
says no. But he's 30 years old and making $28
I say
million.
3. You have to get 3 players for him.
Yeah, you think some offers will come along the way?
I'm hoping.
Hey, Najee Harris is coming in with his option year. Listen, you can't fault this guy for his effort. 1,000 yards a year. The
I think
last
Warren's
3
better.
years.
I think Warren's better.
My thing against Warren, man, he fumbles too much.
He sometimes does let the ball go.
Najee's very durable. What's he going to get? And then you signed Mason Rudolph. And Deontay Johnson, they need a third receiver. You know, in 13 games, how many 100-yard games he had? None.
They don't throw the ball to him enough anyway. So
Well, some of that could be the quarterback play.
both ways.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah,
So-
they got to get a quarterback in there. I mean, once again, I was telling now, here's what I see happening. I see them bringing in some guy that they know Pickett can beat out, which limits who it is.
Well, if they don't give Rudolph $5 million a year, say in a 3-year contract, he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
Oh, yeah.
That's it for us. We're out of time. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.